19 years old, and here I am pregnant. What in the world am I gonna do with a baby? I remember that like it was yesterday. I mean, I told my parents, and how do you tell your parents who don't believe in bringing a baby home without a marriage that you're pregnant? Well, he went to go talk to my dad, and not too long after that, he went and bought me a ring. I mean, it wasn't nothing fancy or outlandish, but 6 months later, we were walking down the aisle saying our vows. You couldn't tell me nothing. Except there was one problem: a place to stay. You know, it was one thing visiting, but it was a whole nother thing to raise a family there. I mean, it was a typical bachelor's pad, not kid-friendly at all. But I told him how I felt, and not too long after that, he understood. Because before I brought our beautiful baby boy into this world, we were in a new place, a new home, our home. And we were a happily married teenage couple. But I just knew I was going to be the perfect wife and mother. So it was good. Except nobody told me about that baby. He would not stop crying. And from there, everything just started to fall out of place. I mean, we went from laughing and spending quality time together to, I'll be back, I'm going out with my cousin. Being back meaning 2 o'clock in the morning, laying on the couch. Those baby shower gifts were for us, not just me. But, you know, they say only 2 things are open after midnight. That's Walmart and legs. And I knew he wasn't at Walmart. But instead of assuming, I thought I would ask, babe, why are you laying on the couch? You okay? Nothing. Can you hear me? Still nothing. Babe, I'm just tired and I need you to help me with this baby. Absolute silence. Well, the Patty LaBelle and me, Petty LaBelle and me, started to rise up because, you know, good fathers, they take care of their babies. Good fathers care for their children. And since you can't hear me and you can't help me, maybe you should make sure you're the father. I knew he was, but I just wanted a response. I went to bed that night thinking, scratch that, knowing, I might have took it a little too far. But we woke up the next day and I just was thinking it would all blow away. You know, he was sitting on the side of the bed holding our 3-month-old baby, and he was patting him on the back, and I just thought, you know, babe, I'll take him. You're hitting him a little hard, you know, you might be tired. Well, he looked at me and said, I'll hit you. Whoop. Now he responds. Okay. I didn't think nothing of it. I went over, picked up our baby off the bed, and I began to walk to the rocking chair. And as I turned around, it all happened so fast because he was right in my face, pushing me backwards. I fell holding onto our baby as tight as I could, glass shattering everywhere, rocking chair, everything. This nigga done lost his ever-loving mind. I made sure that baby was okay, brushed him off, laid him down, and he ran right out the door, headed towards outside. And I went after that nigga. I sure did. Well, beside our house, there was a whole bunch of wood and grass and nails from houses that had been torn down. And before I could even run too far, boom, I fell in a pile of woods. Sprained my shoulder. I could barely even move my arm, but I was so upset. But the rage started to fade as I remembered our baby is still in the house. Well, I guess I was wrong because I didn't know where he went, but the doctors wanted to know. And we started to argue because he's like, well, if you was hurt that bad, you shouldn't have went to the hospital. If they needed to know that much information, you should have just, a knock on the door interrupted. And I felt guilty. Like, this is all my fault. Maybe if I would have just left it alone, let him come in when he wanted to. He opens the door. It's his brother. His brother comes running up the steps. Now you want to fight, ho? Yelling at me, kick me, we start fighting. My husband jumps in and I'm like, yeah, let's go. My husband's about me. Until smack, my head up against the wall. He was fighting with his brother against me. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know what I was going to do. 19 years old. And it's like, if you've ever seen How to Get Away with Murder or a mafia crime scene, that's what I wanted. I mean, don't think I'm crazy. I still loved him after all of that. But I just couldn't believe he chose his brother over me. Well, 19 years old, I took our baby, our things, and I packed my stuff, and I left. I didn't know how I was going to live, but I wasn't going to live like that. 4 years. It took 4 years for me to finalize that divorce. But what else was I going to do? I began to just raise my child. I mean, we went from living in shelters, going to food banks, diaper banks. I was so embarrassed. And after that fight, I didn't want to go back home. I felt like an ultimate failure. I mean, I'm a college dropout, a single mother, and now just an angry black woman, because I'm mad. And, you know, I ended up getting a criminal background, so I was only making $7.25 an hour. An hour. How am I supposed to raise this baby I love so much? You know what, God? I give up. I give up. I'm done trying. I'm going to just get me a nice project housing unit and, you know, a bus pass and stop dreaming so big. And that's no shade at all. But like I said, compared to how I was living, that was a dream. As I was talking to God at the bus stop, this lady came up to me. And we began to talk, and I was just telling my whole life story. And it's a good thing, because she told me all about construction. I went from that to becoming a laborer in an operator's union, an operating engineer. I even started my own company, Tony and Son Construction. Yeah. But it was then I realized I don't need a man to be a good mother. And I felt confident. I began to feel good about myself. And me and my son, we were doing good financially, emotionally. That's why the second marriage was unexpected. Because he came in and there was still a part of me in all that success that felt like, if my son had a father, it would be perfect. I mean, if I could be married, this would be perfect. Well, he met my son and they clicked, and I'm just like, I got my second chance at a family. Because we were supposed to be a family. I just wanted a family. Well, he proposed twice, so it was valid, right? I mean, twice he asked me to marry him. So it was going smooth. Everything was beautiful until, you know, I realized everybody has their insecurities. And my husband showed his in how he just needed control. Like the way we fought over little things, just parenting. I realized, yeah, Everybody got their insecurities. It was just like when my second son was born, right in the hospital, he was yelling at me, all because I wanted to give our baby a middle name. I mean, he was supposed to be a junior, like that's what we talked about. But I just asked him, I know we said a junior, but you don't even have a middle name. I mean, I didn't think it was a big deal, but obviously it was. Because all hell broke loose, and he just started going off, not even recognizing the less than 48-hour-old baby was laying right next to me. And it was the nurse who had to come and help me gather our things, gather my baby, and go to the car. And I drove home by myself. By myself. I was heartbroken because it was the second time I was in a marriage alone. You know, there's the pain of being lonely, but then there's the ache and the agony of being lonely while somebody is supposed to be here. I gave up because, again, I just couldn't live like that. And I realized that love, true love, comes from the inside out, not from the outside in. I didn't need a man to tell me I was beautiful or valuable or worthy of love or even to make us a family. I just needed to love myself. So, do you vow to be patient with yourself when life gets overwhelming and you feel like you just want to give up? I do. And do you vow to give yourself grace even when it seems like you're overworked and you're going too fast? I do. But will you honor and value your body? Because God said you are fearfully and wonderfully made, even on your worst day. I do. And do you believe, vow to believe that you are enough? I do. Well, you can take this time and kiss your beautiful babies and know that you will be the emotionally healthy, stable mother that you were always called to be, today, tomorrow, and forevermore.
If there's a question on my heart, you got it. It don't belong to anyone but you. If there's a question on my love, you got it. Baby, worry, I got plans for you.